Welcome, boils and ghouls, to the Talk Thru's first Halloween special. My name is Nick, and I'll be your master of ceremony. So join me as I regale you with a small collection of chilling tales to send shivers down your spine. The perfect plan. On Monday, I came up with the perfect plan. No one even knew we were friends.
Everything's under control.
On Tuesday, he stole the gun from his dad. On Wednesday, we decided to make our move during the following day's pep rally. On Thursday, while the entire school was in the gym, we waited just outside the doors. I was to use the gun on whoever walked out first. Then he would take the gun and go into the gym blasting. I walked up to Mr. Quinn, the guidance counselor, and shot him in the face 3 times. He fell back into the gym, dead. The shots were deafening. We heard screams in the auditorium. No one could see us yet. I handed him the gun and whispered, "Your turn." He ran into the gym and started firing. I followed a moment after. He hadn't hit anyone yet. Kids were scrambling and hiding. It was mayhem. I ran up behind him and tackled him. We struggled. I wrenched the gun out of his hands, turned it on him, and killed him. I closed his mouth forever. On Friday, I was anointed a hero. It was indeed the perfect plan. Hell. There was no pearly gate. The only reason I knew I was in a cave was because I had just passed the entrance. The rock wall rose behind me with no ceiling in sight. I knew this was it. This was what religion talked about. What man feared. I had just entered the gate to hell. I felt the presence of the cave as if it was a living, breathing creature. The stench of rotting flesh overwhelmed me. Then there was the voice. It came from inside and all around. "Welcome." "Who are you?" I asked, trying to keep my composure. "You know," the thing answered. I did know. "You are the devil," I stuttered, quickly losing my composure. "Why me? I've lived as good as I could." The silence took over the space as my words died out. It seemed like an hour went by before the response came. "What did you expect?" The voice was penetrating but patient. "I don't know. I never believed any of this," I uttered. "Is this why I'm here?" Silence. I continued. "They say the greatest trick you ever pulled was convincing the world you don't exist." "No. The greatest trick I ever pulled was convincing the world that there was an alternative." "There is no God?" I shivered. The cave trembled with the words, "I am God." What they don't tell you about the dead. I don't want to sound mean, but the dead are pretty clueless. I've always seen them. When I was younger, everyone thought I was talking to imaginary friends. After a couple years, when I overheard my parents talk about calling a psychologist, I realized what I was talking to. See, ghosts don't tend to realize they're dead, and they don't look like in the movies. They look like us. I'm pretty smart for a 13-year-old, so I started noticing certain patterns to tell them apart from the living. They could always be a bit distant from the living people. or you'd see them try to talk to people who wouldn't even notice them. Some of them could tell I was different, that I noticed them. Like this guy I saw at school yesterday. I'm a big boy now. See, I don't need my parents to pick me up. Home is just a short walk away. He was standing away from other parents, didn't talk to them, just stared at me. That's how I knew he was one of the ghosts. I went over, told him I knew what he was, and asked how I could help him. I don't remember much after that. I think because of what happened this morning. Downstairs, my parents were crying. I tried talking to them, but they ignored me. They must have died last night somehow. Sometimes the new ghost wouldn't talk to me. Some police officers and reporters just arrived. They won't talk to me either. Just my parents. It's weird. I've never seen so many ghosts together before. Why won't anyone talk to me? Guardians. He awoke to the huge insect-like creatures looming over his bed and screamed his lungs out. They hastily left the room and he stayed up all night, shaking and wondering if it had been a dream. The next morning, there was a tap on the door. Gathering his courage, he opened it up to see one of them gently place a plate filled with fried breakfast on the floor, then retreat to safe distance. Bewildered, he accepted the gift. The creatures chittered excitedly. This happened every day for weeks. At first he was worried they were fattening him up. But after a particularly greasy breakfast left him clutching his chest from heartburn, they were replaced with fresh fruit. As well as cooking, they poured hot, steamy baths for him and even tucked him in when he went to bed. It was bizarre. One night he awoke to gunshots and screaming. He raced downstairs to find a decapitated burglar being devoured by the insects. He was sickened, but disposed of the remains as best he could. He knew that they had been trying to protect him. One morning, the creatures wouldn't let him leave his room. He lay down, confused but trusting as they ushered him back into bed. Whatever their motives, they weren't going to hurt him. Hours later, a burning pain spread throughout his body. It felt like his stomach was filled with razor wire. The insects chittered as he spasmed and moaned. It was only when he felt a terrible squirming feeling beneath his skin that he realized the insects hadn't been protecting him. They had been protecting their young. Thank you, Boils and Ghouls, for joining me on this Halloween special. Do leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Us here at the Talk Thru want to thank all of our viewers and subscribers for tuning in weekly. We appreciate you tremendously. So please, enjoy the last bit of this spooky season and enjoy the next upcoming holidays. Take it easy.